I'm Jordan Hauser for elitefts.com, and I'm here today with Ted Toalston. Ted competed last week in the APF Senior Nationals, and he went to that meet because it was a qualifier for WPC Worlds this November. He won his weight class, the 220-pound weight class, qualified him for Worlds, and so that's what we're going to talk about today. Ted, thanks for talking to us.
Thanks for having me.
So let's start at the very beginning of your training cycle. When you decided you wanted to train, you wanted to go through this meet, what was going through your mind and what was your plan?
Coming off the meet in October, which was actually promoted and ran by the same guy that ran the Nationals this year, I knew the pace was going to be quick, and so we incorporated that. We trained a lot faster, took less rest between sets to get prepared for that. I came in pretty good for that. Other than that, it was just a pretty basic working on getting stronger. I already had the size I needed. I didn't need to gain any weight, so it was just mainly focused on strength gains. And
so you recently went up a weight class in October. That was your first meet in the 220-pound class because you had always competed 198 before. So how was the weight management going into this meet? Did you have to be careful with it that you didn't get too heavy or drop back down?
It was pretty easy. I got a little bit reckless early, and I got heavier than I wanted to, but it was way out from the meet, so it didn't really affect anything getting ready for the meet. So it was pretty basic. I already had my food planned out, so I didn't need to make any adjustments there. I just kept everything where it was at to get to the weight, and it worked real well.
Okay, so you started training for the meet. Did you run into any issues during the training cycle? Any pain? Anything that was bothering you that wasn't going as planned?
The cycle went smooth. Probably the best training cycle I've ever actually had for a meet. I didn't have any issues. Right just before the meet, I had a little bit of elbow pain, but nothing serious. Other than that, everything was good. I mean, my back's been good, knees, everything that typically gets a little bit achy before a meet, I had no issues at all.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and so coming up to the weekend of the meet, you had to cut just a little bit of weight. How do you usually go about doing that?
I've used a few different things, diuretics, laxatives, those types of things. I just try to get it off as quick as I can and then back on as quick as I can. Water manipulation. Going into this meet was actually a pretty easy cut. From my training weight was about 232. I'd wake up in the morning about 230-ish. Basically, I just cut my food and water off about 33 hours out from weigh-ins, and I never had to take any diuretics or laxatives or anything at all. I just kind of came right off. So
you went up to Michigan for the weekend. You weighed in. You made your weight. Got your weight back on. Meet day comes. How'd it go for you?
Less than expected. My squat was way off from where I thought it would be. Actually, a negative 35-pound PR. I ended up finishing with just my opener. I think a lot of that was while I was physically ready for the pace of the meet. Mentally, I wasn't prepared. On that day, I wasted a lot of nervous energy in between attempts, pacing, and just basically worrying about being ready for the lift when I needed to be ready.
Okay, and so there were a couple interesting things that happened with you at the meet. The first thing was with your squats. So you got your opener, your second couldn't get it out of the hole, and then on your third you timed out. So what happened there?
The first one, it was a lightweight, easy. We planned it that way, and it was a good thing we did. The timer's running. The rule book states that you have to begin your lift by the time the clock expires. And the clock starts when the bar's loaded. You got 60 seconds. And in that 60 seconds, you got to be ready and get the start command from the judge. I did not know that fully. I thought you had to be at the bar and the clock stopped, but I was incorrect. I looked at it again since then. You have to get to the command from the judge to stop the clock. My first one I got out with 2 seconds left on the clock. So going into my second, I was nervous about that. We ended up wrapping my knees about 3 lifters too soon, so I'm standing there wrapped, ready to go for what I think was just too long. I came out of the rack just fine on my second attempt. I just had nothing out of the hole to bring the bar up. My third attempt, we tried to time it closer, and just screwed it up. I just timed out. I mean, it was a legit call on the judge's part. I didn't get the bar out soon enough to get the command, and they just didn't let me take the attempt.
Okay, and so then after the squats, onto the bench, you got your opener easily. You got your second attempt, which was a 1 pound PR,
1 pound.
Very small PR, but that was a little different for you. I know you passed on your third, but on your second, it was a slow lift.
Mm-hmm.
In the past with you, you either got the lift, it moved fast, or you didn't get it. So what do you attribute the change to where now you're kind of able to grind out those heavy attempts better than you could before?
We incorporated that into this last training cycle because you're exactly correct. Previously, I would come off my chest and just stop. I had nothing at the top end if I didn't get it moving fast enough, or I just mentally gave up on the lift. I'm not sure exactly, but we incorporated just a lot more dumbbells, heavier. We focused harder on the lockouts, even on multi-rep sets. We'd make sure we'd pause just for a second at the lockout, squeezing hard there, pushing through. We did a little bit of specifically lockout work like pin presses and stuff like that, but I think just mostly the focusing on that lockout part during the full motion lift really helped with that. So
at that point in the meet, squats a little disappointing, bench went pretty well, you get to your deadlift, you take your opener. What happened?
I opened with a light 639. It should have been an easy lift for me. I'm not exactly sure what happened, but I dropped it just below my knees, and it really kind of got in my head a bit, and I thought to myself, I'm about to bomb out into deadlift because I don't know what to do to fix this. Fortunately, I came back on my second and got it, but I really still don't know what happened. I don't know if I didn't have a good grip on it, or if I just went in there half-assed thinking this is easy, and it wasn't as easy as I thought it was going to be. Somehow I recovered from it, but you know, I think again it's just mentally being ready when you need to be ready to take the attempt is the biggest thing I got to work on going into Worlds.
So it's a week post-meet now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you took the first place in your class, you qualified for Worlds like you went there to do, hit a small PR, and so now plan to train. What are you thinking of doing? What is your plan from here until Worlds comes up in November?
I want to run a real similar squat training cycle that we did for this meet. That went really well. It didn't really transfer to the platform, which I'm just going to make those mental adjustments hopefully for Worlds. But the physical strength was there. I know I had the ability to do way more than I did on the platform. The bench, we kind of did 2 training cycles leading up to this meet for the bench. The one before the meet training cycle, I was a lot stronger than I was at the end of the meet training cycle. The big difference there was the first little cycle we did. We basically would do like a week of dumbbell work, a week of raw bench, and then do the shirt. Then we come back, hit like a floor press, dumbbells, raw work, shirt. So every shirt was every 3 to 4 weeks. We switched that up going into the meet, and I had a shirt on a lot more often. I think it just taxed my nervous system, took a toll there that didn't work out well. So going in, we're going to switch that up, do less shirt work and prep for Worlds, and hopefully it'll be all indicators are it'll be a lot stronger for Worlds.
And you're one of the few guys on the team that has the opportunity to train out here at the compound every week. You've been training with Todd Brock for a while, and so a lot of your plans and your training cycles come up from talking to him, sitting down, and setting it up. So when you two work together, how is it that you bring different ideas and come to a good conclusion for what's going to be best for you?
We'll usually just sit down or in email exchanges, both present our ideas of what we think needs worked on, how we think we're going to get to the end result. And then we just kind of, you know, hash it out as far as like give our reasons for why we think this would be better than that or this, and you know, we just come to agreements on that stuff, and basically put together a program after we discuss why we think each way would be better. And almost always it's a blend of the two, and it works out good. Typically after we get a plan, we'll run it by Dave, see what he thinks. He might offer some suggestions or insight that we hadn't thought of. We take that into consideration. Maybe we make the adjustments that he made, some of the adjustments, before we nail it down and commit to a program.
So with Worlds coming up, there's going to be some pretty serious international competition there. What to you would make you feel like that meet was a success? What are you hoping for here in November?
I'm hoping to win. That's my plan. I never plan to finish anywhere besides first. I don't know who's going to be there. I mean, I don't know who's going to show up or what that is. So my goal for my first attempt and my last attempt will be to win the meet. As far as my own personal satisfaction, if I don't win, I will not be satisfied. I would be maybe less disappointed if I hit PRs on all my lifts or something like that, but I would rather win without PRs than lose with PRs.
All right, wonderful. Thanks for talking to us, Ted.
Thanks.